up? What up? What up? What's going on, man? We're almost through the year. We got one more week to go, and 2020 will be in the books. But before we get there, we have some just amazing people that are going to come through and talk about what they've done when it comes to this thing we call hip hop. Welcome to the Soul Show. I am your boy Rome, and tonight we do not disappoint. We are coming in with one of the legendary representatives of Brownsville, part of that Duck Down family. You know, when we think of some of the greats in hip hop, especially representing Brooklyn, we cannot overlook the contributions of Helter Skelter, Sean P., rest in peace, and my brother who's joining us tonight to talk about all things hip hop. My brother representing Brooklyn, Rockness Monsta. Let's go. What's good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the good word? What's the good word?
Hey, man, you know, trying to keep this hip hop thing going, man, considering all the madness that's going on, man. These are the things that kind of inspire people to kind of just take their mind off of that for a minute and kind of get back to that foundation, to that, you know, to that root. And we need that right now. You know what I mean? So, you know, I know, like when I reached out to you, I was like, man, I can't even imagine, you know, working with some of the people that you worked with and representing, which, you know, people from Brooklyn, I mean, they represent that with their life. So, you know, to come from Brooklyn, representing hip hop and have touched so many people in the world, I just thought that was a compelling story for my peoples in Orlando, because my people, there's so many people, you know, from Brooklyn that live in Orlando that know about the story in and out and could tell you verbatim when this and this and this happened. I mean, you hear the arguments all the time, you know, about when this started, who did this, and, you know, but it's great to talk to the city, to tell them straight from the horse's mouth what it was like to be in those early days, you know, when Duck Down was just forming and all of you guys were just kind of like, you know, just creating this new thing to you. And then at the same time, seeing what that new thing did for the rest of the world, I just thought, man, if he could tell this story, bro, this would be a lot of good information for the culture, just in general, man, to have that structure, man, because it morphed. You know, from the beginning, it started out this way, and then it kind of grew into this next thing, and then it tapered off, and then grew into this other thing. And before you know it, it was like, damn, you guys reinvented yourself so many different ways, but kept it true to Brooklyn and Brownsville in all parts around. So I said all of that to say, my man, tell everybody, how did you personally get started in hip hop? What was some of the motivating factors? What was your story?
I mean, I got started. Well, salute to you. Salute to everybody. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely, brother.
Appreciate the love and support. But I mean, I guess the story goes as follows. Like in the beginning, you know, like I started rapping at a really young age. I was like 11 years old when I wrote my first rhyme and shit. But like Steal from Smith and Wesson is from my projects. You know what I mean? I was just running around the hood busting raps. You know what I mean?
Right.
And one day, his uncle was an older, you know, obviously clearly his uncle was older. He was older than us, but he was young enough that he was really into hip hop. You know what I mean? And this was back when like the adults wasn't, you know, like you couldn't tell your mom you was about to be a rapper. You understand what I'm saying? Your mom was trying to, like, nigga, go get a job, nigga. Like, you know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
But so his uncle was young enough though that he was into hip hop hardcore, and being from the projects, he noticed me, and he was like, "Yo, I want you to meet my nephew." He introduced me to Steel, and to to keep it all the way 100, like still, like we say this in all of the interviews, like we owe so much of this to Steel from Smith and Wesson, because he was the one doing the legwork. You know what I mean? While a lot of us were still running around just doing the dirt, you know what I
Right.
mean? He was doing the dirt and doing the work. He would work another job. He would pay for studio time. He would actually shop a demo tape. Like, he had a manager. He had a group. They was organized and all that. It was a force to be reckoned with. When I met Steele, that was already going. It just wasn't the boot camp clique, and it wasn't none of the dudes that you know now. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I saw it and I was like, yo, I want to fuck with that. You know what I mean? And
Right.
when I began to do that, eventually I started, eventually that thing began to morph into the boot camp clip. Like, Tech started to come around, come around the way and whatnot. Tech didn't even know how to rhyme yet, but eventually, like, Tech had a rhyme or two. You understand what I'm saying? It was like,
Right. Right.
this was by the time I was like, I was like me and Steel became friends when I was like 15. You know what I mean? And and by the time, like, by the time I was like 17, Tech, Tech was rapping. And he was, and it was like, oh, word, nigga, Tech got a rap. Oh, shit, me and your shit, son. It was that kind of vibe. You know what I mean? So eventually, we started, Tech was a creepy nigga too, like in a dope way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, us being a bunch of hardcore, we on our hardcore rap shit, Tech brought a nice creepy vibe to us. I was like, yeah. You understand what I'm saying? It felt good, right? But
now we get that. But for some of the listeners that may not get what you're saying, creepy, because creepy is a loaded word. Creepy can mean a lot of things.
now I'm when I mean creepy, I mean like
grimy,
evil. You understand what I'm saying? Like you like don't walk in the door. He gonna take all your money. You understand what I'm saying? He gonna knock you all the way out. You understand what I'm saying? Like he had that vibe about it. It was a real dark, it's a dark hardcore hip hop vibe about son. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't understand what just now happened, but somebody tried to call my phone, and as I dubbed the call, I had to put and now my volume is wild low on the call right now. So I can't hear you as well right now.
Oh, okay. You wanna kind of fix that real quick? You could probably turn the volume back up.
Let me see. How would I do it? Just go out and go back in?
Yeah, probably that'll work by default. Let's try that. Yeah, if you're joining us right now, we got Rockness Monsta representing that Duck Down legacy, man. We're going into all the stories. Shout out to everybody on the tune in right now. Hills, Strange, what's good? Sebastian, what's good? Thunny Brown, you already know Brooklyn. What's going on, man? Waiting for him to log back in. One more show after this, before the new year. It's a condensed week. Tonight, this week we got K Solo to end out the Soul Show for this year. Looking forward to that too. Shout out to Jesse Jazz. We're just waiting for him to log back in real quick. And some issues with the volume. I hope everybody's feeling good, man. We just went through a Christmas. Hopefully everybody had some time to spend with family, and get to know each other a little bit better, calm the fuck down, get ready for this new year. run because it is going to be crazy. And we do have him back. Let's see what's going on.
Yo, 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 yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yeah, we good. We good. We way better. We way better.
Way better. That's good. Always good news. Now, you were talking about the genius that is Steel and how you guys kind of rounded him out as far as because a lot of people don't know that. You know, when you think of Duck Down, I mean, at least the story that is like globally told or kind of globally assumed is that Buckshot was the head behind everything. But your story is compelling. Still, the kind of guy that don't like to talk much. That kind of guy is the one that put everything, kind of put this whole train in motion. Talk about that. Continue.
Yes, there was he was he was militant from day one. It was like even like the crew, like before the crew was called Boot Camp Click, like we was called like the military theme was starting to it was in the name before. It was
Right.
like Major Organized Sound Troopers. It was the MOST, but really with the MOST originally before it was all of us, it stood for the Man of Steel. You understand what I'm saying? But Steel was just like he was the ultimate team player always from day one. So when he just what was his thing, he made our thing, and that was even before I was running with him. But
Right.
so but that was the thing he was doing. That was the thing that I got. That was the thing that I became a part of before it was Boot Camp Clip. You know what I mean?
Right.
Buckshot was still like I always joke about it. I'm like, Still used to have these secret friends and shit that he used to go hang with that we ain't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and every once in a while, he would go off on these little secret missions with his secret friends and all of that. Come back talking about they had a show and the show was this, that, and the third, and it was dope and la 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 la. But none of us ever went. His secret friends was Buckshot. His secret friends was Black Moon. You know what I mean? He would be going and performing with them and doing work with them, whatever that may have been before I knew. Cause like I said, they was, that's why I called them his secret friends and shit. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
long story short, it took a while. Eventually I realized that Fire from Black Moon, like whenever Steel would come back from his little missions with his secret friends and shit, he would
Right.
a lot of times he would have Five from Black Moon with him, and Five had family in my project, so it was I knew Five before I knew Buckshot. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
so he would come around the way with Steel because he had family in the project, come see his aunt and all that shit, and we got familiar that way. But then later on down the line, it wasn't until I was like 19 years old that I realized that it was like, that I drew the whole connection because Buckshot had put out who got the prop. Like Black Moon had put out who got the props already before I met Buckshot. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that was home, that those were still secret friends till I
Right.
was up. I was locked up when I was 19 from like November to about that next April. And in that time, I was watching the videos in the day room and I watched who got the props one good time and I recognized Five in the video. And when
Right.
I made that connection, I was like, oh. Nah.
Yes. And for those who don't know, that who got the props was sick. It was just sick. It was on Nervous Records, one of the most memorable looking labels. You knew you had a hip hop record when you had that Nervous Records.
Yeah, that's a
And
fact.
and knowing that when they used that sample, dude, and it was just so much fun and so much energy.
Mhm.
Like you said, you seen it in the day room. What were you thinking? Like, is this what we doing?
No, I really bugged. I bugged all the way out. Like I did. I bugged all the way out. I was like, oh, because I knew, you know, like, and I don't know if I found, like I said, I was only locked up from November to April. So
Right.
within that time, I had already heard that Steel and Tech had signed a record deal or something like that. Was about to sign a record deal with
Right.
and this shit. And then and also in that time, Steel and Tech came to visit me on it. You know what I'm saying? While I was locked, it was one of those days I didn't even know it was going to be them too. You know how it used to be, like when you locked up, like you every once in a while you would have you had I don't know if you had a I don't know if this was normal for everybody, but it would be times when it would be issues with who, you only get a certain amount of visits a day, and if a nigga, you know what I'm saying, if a nigga had a baby moms and a girlfriend, you know what I'm saying, they might want to it might be some issues on who get to see you this Thursday. You understand what I'm saying? And
Right. Right. Right.
so it was one of those things where my communication lapsed between, I ain't had no kids yet, you know what I'm saying, but I had a shorty, you know what I'm saying, I had a ex shorty that I was trying to work it out with. Then I had family members and shit, and then I had homies that was all trying to go. That was all, I wasn't sure who was about to show up on the dance floor that day, and I
Right.
showed,
Right.
and I went down there, fucking Steel and Tech walked through the fucking jump off. I was like, and then they both had Nervous Records t-shirts on and shit. Be like, I was pumped. Like I was pumped. I was pumped. Be like, I was like, yo, oh shit, different.
Right.
Shit,
Right.
you know, like I already knew in my heart that shit was different. And I came home, shortly after that. And what was it like? The Into the Stage album was already that album that you see up there behind me. What is that right there? That shit
Right.
was already complete by the time I came home. But I got home and I linked up with Steel, and Steel played me that album. But before he played me that album, he played me two songs. Those two songs was Blacksmith and Wesson and You the Man. And I was like, oh nine, I will never miss another project because I'm locked up ever. That should change my life. I was like, nah, I'm not going to jail. Never. Ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just set me on the right path. I'm like, I saw a light at the end of this of the tunnel that I was in. This Brownsville, this gutter life, this whatever the fuck it was. When I saw that, and I heard, and those two songs specifically, because those was two songs that Tech and Steel were on, and I'm
Right.
like, these are my niggas. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
These are my niggas, and they on an album that's about to come out.
Right.
Because everybody already noticed who got the prop shit. You understand that everybody
Right.
already.
Right.
So this is a train that's moving. So from that point on, I just played my position. You know what I mean? Because on some real shit, like Steel always was on some, like from day one, it was like him and Tech was on some, like, well, once they got this situation, it was like, what we gonna do about rap? You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't even so much as an afterthought. It was like, this is the next natural course of action for us, and we just kept carrying it that way. You know what I mean?
Let's explore what you just talked about, because that was a compelling series of statements that you made in reference to you were in one space in your life at that moment, but in that span of time you missed so much, and then coming out seeing where things were heading on top of what you've already missed was the catalyst to change your entire life. Talk about that, because I want you to explore that just a little bit more, because right now you're talking to the city of Orlando, you're talking to my peoples out here. Talk about this idea that going to jail is cool, and then you seeing this other life being presented to you that doesn't require you to do that. And actually, it needs you to be out of that to do this job. Talk about that for a minute, brother.
Absolutely. It just, and I mean, you said it. You said it. That's exactly what it is. Like, I didn't, and it wasn't even like I looked at it like that, because, coming from, when you grow up in the mix, if you grow up engraved in the mix enough, you don't even see it as a choice, like the life that you lead. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The life you live. It's just like, these are the options you was given. It's like it's just a natural progression. You grow up, and especially one thing about Brownsville I say is especially notorious for is you really got, not to say that this is only exclusive to just Brownsville, but and you know how they say in the hood you gotta fight a lot. In Brownsville, you gotta fight a lot because it's so many projects. It ain't no. It's like It's like these projects are structured like prisons. It's like like somebody on top of you, somebody to the left of you, to the right of you, under you. You know what I mean? It's like so you grow up with people just testing you. You know what I mean? People impeding on your space in one way or another. You know, like when back in the day, you watch the Chris Rock show. Like everybody hates Chris when Chris would go to the store and the older niggas would rob him. Like
Right.
like that really happened back then, and that was in Bed-Stuy. That show sets or takes place in Bed-Stuy, but in Brownsville, like we experienced that shit. Grown ass niggas robbing you as a kid, so you grow up rough and you don't know the difference. You don't know that you almost not willingly choosing the wrong path. You just like you see that as the only path.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you when I saw something different, it was like, whoa, like it was just like it was a door. Like that shit was a gateway for me. Like I'm literally like that shit made the last month or so, whenever I recognized what it was, that shit made the last month of my shit so smooth because I had a new
Right.
step. I was able to see that shit could be better.
Right. And like I said, it can't be undersold and overstand it. That should got to be understood exactly what you're saying. You're saying to the people that even though you were completely surrounded with that mentality, even though you were in the belly of the beast, awaiting to be free at some point,
Mm-hmm.
that gave you a freedom, like an
Hell yeah.
eternal freedom. Like
Hell yeah. Like
I
I
don't
was
care what happens.
already free from that point on. From that point, I was like,
That's
bitch.
what hip hop do.
I was
That's
like,
what hip hop do.
I'm
It
going home.
frees you.
I already knew I was going home. Like I never had like I think it's something that we could get into now. We could get into later. We get into whenever. It's important to believe what you believe. You understand? It's important to believe. It's important to believe positively because I never believed that I never looked. I never even imagined myself as somebody who would ever do a bid. Like that shit was like that shit is almost impossible in the picture of my reality. You understand what I'm saying? And I say
Right,
that to say thoughts become reality, B. And like I said, throughout whatever happened in my life, it's not to say that I never got into no more trouble, but my motivation and the type of trouble was slightly different. It was for a different purpose, and that fuck the trouble. You understand? I never did a bid. I never missed another project because of it. You understand what I'm saying? It
right,
was like, and that was partly because of that's partly because it was largely in part of my actual actions, but it's also my frame of thinking. Like I do not like now, your thoughts become reality, and I know I was born to be free. I was born to shine. I believe that even when I was locked up and noticed what I noticed in the day room. I was sitting in jail for a robbery that I knew I was coming home for because I didn't do it. I felt
right,
like it was like this shit was just a punishment for all of the shit I did get away with. You know what I mean?
right,
But nah, we gonna be all right. And then
right,
I
right. And for one more second, let's stay right there, because while you're in that jail, talk about how others don't get that enlightenment, that outlook. Then, man, that's all they see.
Oh, now that's it for them.
Right.
That's it for them. Like when I left, I remember when I left out of that jail. I remember I was the youngest nigga in that facility, or at least in that dorm. The next to the youngest nigga who was in there cried when I left. Like, you know what I'm saying? All we was both 19. All the rest of these, he might have been 20, but the rest of them niggas was in their 30s and 40s and shit like that. And at that time, they was old heads. They was old heads to us. To this day, some of the niggas who was in there look older than I look now. You know what I mean? Like they was grown built niggas and shit. For you know what I'm saying? Old hairy face, fat neck having ass, muscle having niggas and shit. Like in their 30s and shit. But like, yeah, like some dudes, that's all they see. They don't see a way out. You know what I mean? And I can't say that I always like that I knew what my way out was gonna be. Like even though I was fucking with Steel and we was doing this rap shit to a certain extent and all of that, you know, it wasn't all of that. It took for me to see what I saw, for me to really be like, oh, no, this shit is dead ass.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like it's really like, and mind you, that was just a little bit of light that I had. I still didn't know Buckshot.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Buckshot could have met me and been like, I ain't fucking with that nigga.
Right. There were no guarantees.
No guarantees.
Knew that this looked better than that.
Absolutely.
and that had me in here. And it's how all these other motherfuckers in here oblivious to where they're even at, because jail does that to people. Mm-hmm. You're so used to being in jail outside that when you go in jail inside, it's the equivalent. They don't even see that they're locked up. To them, they're free. They're roaming within their parameters. For people like yourself, who there's no way you could have known you're about to inspire other people. You're gonna change how hip hop looks forever. You don't know these things, but you didn't get in your way to stop it neither. And that's what that sometimes it's only that. Mm-hmm. You know that person's life.
At this point, Helter Skelter hadn't formed fully yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? That hadn't even happened yet. Like I was scheming on Ruck as a partner. You know what I mean? But I didn't pop the question, pause or whatever, right? But like you know what I mean?
Y'all didn't change the world yet.
I had been scheming. I'm like, that's gonna be my partner right there. I just had to trick him into it. Like I feel like I tricked Steel into like I'm like, no, I saw that. I'm like, that's what I'm fucking with. And I'm like, all right, niggas cool. I just gotta figure out. All I gotta do is not fuck it up. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Literally, like I saw what it was I wanted. I knew what it was I wanted, and you know, it felt a little corny for me to go, yo, can I get down with y'all, or to Rock, yo, we should be a group. It just felt corny to me, to immature young Rock. You understand what I'm saying? So I was just like, all right, all I got to do is not fuck it up. But I was scheming. You understand what I'm saying? And me and Ruck, you know, eventually, like when I came home from, it was actually me and Ruck became a official group while on the phone during that time period while I was locked up. Me and Son, I would speak to Son like once a month, twice a month. I would speak to Ruck. Some was hilarious. I would speak to him, he would crack jokes, and I would laugh at those jokes until I spoke to him again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was like just what the doctor ordered. Like just one dose of this nigga would last. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You'll be sitting in the dorm laughing to yourself for weeks, or for the foolish this nigga done said, because Ruck was a special kind of retarded. You understand what I'm saying? But
shout out to everyone that got what he just said. To have somebody in your life that could get you through some moments, and like you said, you think about them and you just fucking bust out laughing. Yeah. They're just so impactful on you.
Yeah, he was that. He
and
was
you
that.
guys were like salt and pepper. Like you guys were, your styles were so different, and styles make fights. So the idea of putting that together to form Voltron really was brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like, yeah, I had no, but I had known Ruck. I met Ruck when we were kids. You
Right,
know what I mean? Our mothers knew each other, so
right,
so that was how we knew each other. But we didn't start hanging with each other until I was about 17, something like that. You know, him and Steel and Tech had already been in high school together and all of that. You know what I mean? Like them niggas had probably already robbed niggas and shit together and all of that. You know, but I linked with Ruck when I was like 17, and we started running heavy from that point on. You know what I mean? Maybe even 18. You know what I mean? But when I was 19, we solidified ourselves as a group. You know what I mean? Or on the phone call,
right,
like, yo, he was like, yo, when you come home, son, we gonna do this shit. I was like, got him, right?
right.
I was like, I got him. You know what I mean? But I got him to suggest it, right? But so yeah, that was and shit. And I was happy. I felt like it was a good fit. Like I had a partner before. My partner was a female. She was dope. You know what I mean? But it just, she just had other shit. You know, her life was doing other shit while my life was doing other shit. And it was a lot of people that just did, a lot of people that was in that MOST phase of our life, they didn't make it to this boot camp shit. You understand what I'm saying? It's like the herd thinned itself out or whatever, and salute to all of the people that were, that used to run with us then, but it just didn't work out, like, because everything wasn't in Steele's hands. I think it probably worked out whatever, like, because Buckshot became the de facto leader
Right.
because he was the first one with a project out. So it was like, the one with the most experience in said field is the one that you're gonna follow. You know what I mean? But so with that being said, it was everything that we didn't go through Steel anymore. It went through like Steel and Buck came with a Drew High, and and it was more to it. So Steel couldn't just say, yo, you my homie, you rap good, you running with us. Because Buck might be like, you understand what I'm saying? And
Right.
niggas talking about paperwork and all of that. Everybody couldn't just get a record deal on Nervous Records. Helter Skelter didn't even get a deal on Nervous Records. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Right.
they like Black Moon was going through a restructuring of sorts.
Right.
Like if you look on the poster, like the artwork for I Got You Open, Buckshot's, what was it, his third single, when it's a picture of a lot of dudes in that photo with him. All of those dudes ain't around no more. And salute to them, but it was like Buckshot was going through a transition. He was transitioning into his team was reforming. And it got to a point where Black Moon was like 15 niggas. Buckshot was like, nah. And all of those other dudes disappeared, and we appeared. You know what I mean? So,
and I remember that time period that you're talking about, because not only did that restructuring happen, but he kind of morphed his own musical journey. Because from Who Got the Props and that first single to How Many MCs and I Got You Open, there was like a shift. He did not sound like that when
that
he
was because of our influence. I won't say myself. He didn't know me yet. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Tech and Steel, like, that was the influence of them on him. Like he morphed into that, fucking with them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And when we're talking about Brooklyn and how not only it has its own sound, and that sound is still developing. It's not one sound. It's all the sounds that come out of Brooklyn. But you guys, we always talk about the youthful mind. You that means everything sometimes. You probably were the kids. To your point, the Buckshot was the big brother. He got his record out. He was the first. But you guys had the, yo, let's try this. Let's do this. And you managed to kind of encompass your own damn sound, all of you. Like it sounded like y'all, but each one of y'all had your own sound to that sound. Talk about that first album and how did that come together and what went behind that first Helter Skelter offering, or even the first single that everyone heard.
Well, I feel like that is a lot simpler than a lot of people give it credit for being. People put a whole lot on it, but that's just a matter of being yourself. You know what I mean? None of us are created the same. So it's like, as long as you being yourself, then what you come up with is going to sound different from the next man.
Right.
Even if the next man is your twin brother. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. That's stating the obvious, but we live in crazy times. Where there isn't.
Sometimes you have to put it that way. I mean, like it's obvious, but it's not that obvious to a lot of people. You know what I mean? A lot of people feel like it's something really, like we carefully crafted a formula when only thing we did was nurture who we was. You know what I mean? Like Ruck and Rock had we have a sound that was more aggressive. I mean, when you put me and Ruck in the room together, the energy is going to be high regardless. You know what I mean? Like we were two aggressive teenagers, like, two big teenagers. We was big, we was high energy, we had that big man energy like that, and we was with the shits.com on a whole, on steroids. You know what I'm saying? So when you put those kind of energies together, now you niggas is a rap group, then you gonna get the fucking, it's like putting Godzilla and King Kong in a movie together. You know what I'm saying? Together. So that was what you got. Tech and Steel were a little different, and Buckshot was, even though like I said, we had all our same similarities with the same interests, the same. We dressed alike, the fatigue shit. Our hair was similar, similar beats and all of that. But we could use some of the same producers and all of that shit. But when you get on it, it's we write our own shit. So once you and biting wasn't allowed back then. So all you got to do, is that, and you're gonna with something that's gonna be unique to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else.
What went behind your particular style when you did that deep voice and you like what went behind that? What inspired you to take that as an angle to your style? Because growing up, listening to that, I mean, we knew you didn't talk like that, but it damn sure sounded like you did. Damn it. You know what I mean? That was awesome.
Listen, I'm honestly, that's really how I talk. You know what I mean? Like it all depends in which tone I'm talking in. Like if you listen to my music now, sometimes like every once in a while I sound just like that.
Right.
Like I mean, like listen, I put out a new song every month this year. Go listen to them songs. Like it all depends on the tone of voice I'm speaking in.
Right.
Whether I'm speaking to you loud, whether I'm speaking to you, like if I speak really loud, if my voice gets more high pitched. You understand what I'm saying? Like my shit got wild range, and like go listen to fucking Be Better or Winter. So that's not me exaggerating my voice. That ain't not, all that is me sitting down rapping.
Right.
It's a certain level of relaxed I get, and I just talk it. You know what I mean? Like when I was younger, it was more like, it was more emphasis on being hardcore. You know what I mean? So I was hardcore on purpose more. Now I can rap about nothing and it's still, I could rap about going to church and the shit will still sound dirty because that's, you know, that hardcore is engraved in me, so I don't have to rap hardcore in order to be hardcore. It just
Right.
like that's like the song "Be Better," "Winner Circle." Like these are songs where I didn't even curse in these songs and shit. Like they have little positive messages and all of that. But yeah, like I mean, like you almost threw me for a loop just now, saying you like you and saying I know you didn't talk. Like I'm like, nigga, what the fuck you mean, nigga? This my voice, nigga. This my
Right.
shit.
No. I'm saying that to
This
say
my shit.
for a lot of people in this day and age, where things just kind of sound like they're going through a machine, if you will. Like everything sounds so similarly. That stuff there is so appreciated that you almost if you weren't there to listen to it when it actually was happening, you've almost missed the boat. That
Yeah,
it's like to
voice
hear
had
those subtleties in hip hop, to hear those differences, even within family. The Jacksons sounded similarly to each other. Michael, whoever, they had that similarly family voice, but they still did their own thing. Hip hop used to always encompass that. Like you could tell who was from the Bronx based on the delivery, but the subtleties of the voice gave you a difference. Like this is what happens when you come to this block. This is what happens when you come to this street.
Yeah, for me it's like what I noticed, the speed, not only the volume, but the speed in which I rap will affect the tone, my tone of voice.
Right.
As as years went by, my flow became more advanced, and like I used to rap slower on Nocturnal than I rapped on, let's say, Magnum Force or anything after that. You know what I mean? Like I learned how to do more tricky and like even like I was on some bullshit on Nocturnal, but I learned more tricks, more, you know what I'm saying, more, I tried more things and my punchline game stepped up and all of this shit. And a lot of times, if you use a lot of syllables in a beat, or if I use a lot of syllables in a bar, so to speak, then you hear more of my words than you hear my voice.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't. But like if the beat is slower and I get to stretch my words out more, you hear you hear my voice more.
Right.
And like you get to hear it. And that was what you hearing when you hearing, yes, y'all, OGC help this girl to be the
right.
Like it's the like it's just natural progressions in my voice that I had to learn, because engineers, they don't know this shit for like that. Like that shit has been an issue with recording throughout all of the years and all that. But don't you ever say I was faking my voice, man. Don't you ever.
No. I did what exactly I did exactly what you were supposed to do, which is knock that right out of the park. For anyone asking these things, I know that's our voice. We come from that era of it. There's all kinds of nuances to everyone's voice.
It's so many rappers who came out over the years where I'm gonna just go ahead and say I hated on them because I felt like their voice wasn't their voice. Like if I heard you talk a certain way,
right.
It, I'm like, nigga, like that ain't you. Like why are you not being yourself?
Right. Talk about and you're also alluding to another important part of hip hop or music in general, that it is tough to really find your voice. A lot of artists spend years, to your point, trying to search out the right engineer that will bring out what they're trying to do without telling them they need to do this to sound like this. And all of these things that go in the nuances of what we hear is the finished product. We don't get to hear all the work it took to even get to that point.
Right.
But sometimes less is more. Sometimes if you take more out of the EQ, if you scoop out too much of that EQ, now I sound like someone you want me to sound like. You leave some of that EQ in there, I'm good. And it sounds like me. And I can live with that.
Exactly. I went through years of drama with fucking with engineers and shit. Like
Right.
not karma, but just being dissatisfied with my finished product because they couldn't, they couldn't bring my voice out of my voice. They have me sounding like something else or whatever. I imagine that Method Man used to go through trouble with that shit.
Bam. Bam. And we don't talk about that. We don't talk about how that's not just a hip hop thing. That's a human thing. There's so many people that are perfectly fine saying whatever they say and not comfortable with their voice, hearing it back. Like it bothers them, hearing their own voice back.
Yeah, because I mean, like the first time I heard my own voice back, that shit sounded crazy to me. I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "That's me." I didn't know. I had to get used to it.
Right, and we don't hear that a lot. We hear like everybody's just so like they think they're the shit when they do whatever they do, but they don't realize art is very personal, and that's why it requires a great team of people. And you luck up on them. You either find them through attrition, or you just somehow meet the right people at the right time that all their job and all they care about in this world is bringing out the real you. Right. And not there to just make a record. Right. It doesn't matter. Because for artists, man, that may be your only album ever. And if you can't do that album as the true you and listen to that album and feel like, man, that really sounds like me. I mean, how many artists, man, have given up hip hop entirely? How many R&B artists, were so, thought they sounded like this when they were young, but then got older and didn't know how to adjust their voice. But once again, my nigga, like I'm telling you, I knew you were going to knock that one out of the park because once again, this is a discussion amongst hip hop people we don't talk about. We don't talk about the importance of having a fucking voice.
I mean, but
separate yourself from everyone because we all do that naturally.
But again, like I said, it's like as long as you be yourself, you will have your own voice. Right. Like the people who back in the days when the labels had total control over everything that came out. Like
talk about it, my brother. Talk about it.
Like they didn't know. You might have a couple of people that you might have some people, and there are definitely people at the labels who knew a hit and who knew how to develop an artist, a new talent when they saw it or whatever. But let a new dope thing come out and see how fast the labels scramble to find something just like that.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? It leaves the artist scrambling to be like that because it trickles down and artists feel like that's what they got to do to get put on, because when one come out, the whole it seems like the radio and the video outlets paint the whole landscape with that same shit. Like you see fucking when Jeezy came out, artists similar to Jeezy came out. You know what I'm saying? Shit like so it got to when rappers started, when the Southern rap took off, and or let's say the like a region
right there, bro.
When any region takes off, see, like when the Ghetto Boys came out, the Ghetto Boys just came out. Texas didn't blow up. You understand what I'm saying? But when later on, when Lil Flip and Slim Thug and Texas blew up, Mike Jones and all, it's because the industry's natural. It follows its natural course to want more of that.
More of that. Boom. You hear this, Orlando? He's dropping bombs on the city right now. Continue, my brother.
You understand what I'm saying? Like when a lot of dope, different shit comes out of it. But people look to that region because they want more of the same. Right. And what's dope about Southern rappers is Southern rappers and Bay Area rappers, like y'all started out independent, so y'all didn't let labels bully. Well, it don't seem like y'all let labels bully y'all as much as we did up here because y'all already had y'all thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Yeah, while they looking for a whole nother outcast, y'all was like, nah, I'm this, and I'm gonna push my shit this way. You understand what I'm saying? I'm push it out the side of my trunk, and you know, and people supported them, so they was able to force their existence. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But like out here in New York, where all you had is you know, it's this is where all the labels were.
You had
All
proven formulas, to your point. You already had a precedent of
yeah,
formulas that were already laid out. And if you didn't kind of apply to any of those formulas, and now we're talking about this 90s era, that
mm-hmm,
era when you guys came out and started presenting no hooks. Sometimes it wasn't no hooks, it was just burst, out.
mm-hmm.
And that was what hip hop was really about. But if it was left up to these labels or these major labels, we would have been guys like you would have been drowned out. And literally, it was a lot of these industries labels that kind of contributed. It's not their fault, but contributed to this mass sound. It's not, it's not a true representation of the individuals. They're having to meet expectations that have been already met. And for all we know, that's not going to work anymore. One thing I loved about the 90s, bro, was you could turn on the radio at any point, and it sounded like 20,000 people of different Biggie, Tupac,
Right.
Wu-Tang,
Yeah.
you guys.
And you know, like this was still, you know, it wasn't mandatory to sound like, you know, it wasn't
Bam.
like the it's like it was all of these, it was a bunch of different types of rap on the
Right,
radio. And it's like now it's only one type of rap
right,
on the radio. You know what I
right,
mean? That's the easiest, that's the simplest way to put it. You know,
right.
you can go through door number one, door number two, number three, number four, number five. Those doors are, door number one is party rap. Door number two is hardcore rap. Door number three is conscious rap. Door number four is story rap. Door number five is rap to the ladies. You know what I'm saying? And they closed off all those doors and just left you one door open in mainstream hip hop. And that's the, you know, where you, I don't know, you fuck up money. You know, that's fuck up all the make the money fast and fuck it up. You know what I mean? On drugs, women, and expensive things you don't need. You know what I'm saying? Floss. You know, floss, blow money fast, and don't be too masculine and and fuck black girls. We need your women to be either androgynous or I mean, no, we need them to be either ambiguous looking like or like you know or white. You know what I'm saying? Like fuck the no, not all this black power. None of that shit. Ain't none of that shit going there. You
Bro,
understand
you
what I'm
think about releasing something like that now. And kudos to people like Kendrick Lamar and her, because when Kendrick Lamar did that, the Black of the Berry on the Grammys, that was a big moment for hip hop, because
saying?
that song was a unicorn during a time where no major artists were even talking about anything like that. And to your point, if it was something to uplift our people, if it was something to talk about the truth, they didn't want that. They systematically wanted rap to be complete fantasy, like this fantasy living that's not real,
No, they
where
took the
you can
fight
be
out of hip.
anyone.
They took the fight out of hip hop. You
Right,
know what I'm saying? Like
right.
shit is all of the revolutionary in it, and I don't mean just making revolutionary music. You could be
No, no,
making
no, no. Right.
like you
The
could be making
experiment.
whatever kind, yeah, just fucking
Right,
experimenting with your music or whatever, making
right,
hardcore music, the storyteller, whatever, anything thought provoking. You know what I mean?
right.
Anything that taught you to do to be yourself or encouraged you to be your other self, your own.
Boom,
You
boom.
like anything that inspired you, like you hear some shit. You know, a lot of people use our lyrics, and our lyrics really get them through some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, no more of that, no more of that. You know what I mean? It's like I say this all the time when people talk about, you know, different things, and the state of affairs in our world today. I'm like, you don't understand, but you know, you sitting there while you sitting there talking about, while you sitting there disrespecting your hip hop elders or whatever, and you have and the hip hop elders are sitting there disrespecting our young brothers and sisters for the music they making. Like you fail to realize that the attack has been on our music for years, and you niggas are still fighting each other because
Right.
look at what our music has done to our music has painted this world whatever color we decided to paint.
Right.
Whatever color we have decided to paint, we've done so with our music. Our music has taken but now niggas done took our paintbrush and they got the world looking however they want it to look. Because our music, because our it's our content that's the paintbrush. It's our voice that's the brush. The paint is the effect that it has on the paint is the fact that everything you got fucking hip hop in McDonald's commercials. You got niggas who they dress more hip hop in Japan than they do in the Bronx. You understand what I'm saying? Like we are the biggest influence over the youth and the youth of the future. So what they do, they steal a paintbrush and they fire the fuck out of the paintbrush now. So instead of us having a positive influence on our people, all we got them doing is BMFing. Salute to BMF, you know, no disrespect to them, but the whole motto of blowing money fast is what they promoting to our kids, you know, and you could blow it on drugs, blow it on women, blow it on houses, blow it on cars, or whatever you don't need, blow it. Don't share it, don't use it to build. You understand? Don't use it to bring, you know what I mean? Like, even if that's what you're doing in your real life, that's not what you're doing in your music. And what you're doing in your music is painting across the world. You understand what I'm saying? Meanwhile, our whole society, the rappers, the fucking the fans, the rappers, the underground, the mainstream niggas don't nobody like. I got a declaration to make. Little Baby can fucking rap.
Hold up. That's breaking news. Let's go to breaking news.
Breaking news never stops.
Turn this motherfucking sound up, man. Blast this is trying to hold this up.
Our brother Rockness Monsta is coming live and direct on the social. Repeat that, my brother.
Little Baby can fucking rap.
Boom!
And so can the baby. They can both rap, but we so busy hating on each other in hip hop that I don't know how long these niggas been out, but I hadn't listened to them because everybody in my age group, all they say is, if your name is Lil this or Young this, I don't want to hear that. Well, you missing something. You running around here complaining about, it's like somehow we just all mad at each other. Like for hip hop to be black culture and for as black people who have been discriminated on for our whole existence in fucking America, you know, and God knows where else in the world, because like I said, racism ain't an American thing. I've been to Germany and felt racism. I've been to Italy and felt racism. You know what I mean? For hip hop to be a creation of us. We are some of the most discriminatory motherfuckers that I've seen in a long time. Since like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, in a very long time. Only thing, we just don't, you know, we're not out here lynching each other, but we discriminating, we hating on each other, we killing each other's spirit like a motherfucker all day, every day. We killing each other unity like a motherfucker. We have a shit with some of us are lynching each other. The fuck?
This go sit the fuck down somewhere before you get hurt moment is sponsored by 5-Star Graphics. The man just dropped bombs on the entire city and just told it as simply and as beautifully as you could possibly put it. I mean, how could you deny what he just said? I mean, that's just the state of affairs. That's the state of this world right now. Regardless of whether we're hating with the music that they make, we're still hating.
Let me tell you something. I was in the car one day with my man, and I heard a song playing on the radio, and it sounded like, you know, the new music. It sounded like the young boys type, you know, this young boy music that you hear a lot. But I'm in a car with the nigga and I'm listening, and he's just playing the radio. He ain't playing none of his music. It's not his. He ain't got his playlist going or none of that shit. And I'm just listening. I hear this song, and I'm like, this shit is woke as fuck. Only Shorty is rapping in auto tune. You understand what I'm saying? But you got people in my age group who just, well, as soon as I heard auto tunes, I turn that shit off. Like, you know, understand? Like that's their mentality, right? But we just zoning out to the music. And I start listening to these lyrics, and this nigga is going in. He's talking about the shit that we going through in the realest way. Come to find out, that was Little Baby. Like, wow. I didn't realize until, like, I don't know, probably a couple of weeks later till I heard this song again, because I talked about it. I asked somebody, I was like, because I asked my man, I'm like, who that? He my age, probably a year younger. He was like, he didn't know who it was. I'm like, nah, this nigga is going. And I found the song later on. I heard it again. I'm like, nah, this nigga right here is going. Like, he was speaking up for us. I'm sitting here talking about, I be kicking this real shit. Like, during this year, like I said, I put out a song every month this year. And when George Floyd happened, and all of that, when the country started to turn up, I put out a song. I put out some music that reflected those times or whatever. And my underground following, I'm sitting here looking at the algorithms on Instagram, this, that, and the third. Like, yo, these niggas is hating, God. Whenever I talk some real, I talk some positive shit, they don't want to, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to, they want to block my shit. They want to block my shit, right? But I'm like, oh, then I discovered the Little Baby shit. I'm like, my son got millions of views on his shit. Okay, so the message is getting out there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the message is getting out. I don't know who it is watching it, but that shit got millions of views. And I'm like, okay, it don't have to be me. As long as the people get this message. Because this shit ain't, because this shit is this shit is bigger than me, or bigger than rap, or bigger than whatever the fuck. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But the moral of the story is the nigga could rap. The nigga is not absent on social issues that concern us and all of that. But meanwhile, the whole demographic of my age group is talking about, I'm not fucking with him just because his name Little or his name Baby. Go sit your ass down somewhere.
You heard it from the horse's mouth. This go sit your ass down somewhere moment has been brought to you by the sound of Orlando and my man, my brother, Rockness Monsta, man, speaking truth to power. Real quick, and I know it's a touchy subject, but talk about that reinvention of Sean P. right before he was untimely took from this planet. It felt like he had found this brand new lane and just reinvented himself in such a dope way. And I think, in my humble opinion, I think it inspired a lot of other people to say, oh, we can still do this. Because at that moment in time, it felt like he was the only one who had got that sound together and was just, hitting you with bars, no hooks, just and it just felt like a reinvention. Talk about that and how it just felt like it was so short-lived. We were just retuning ourselves into hearing that. And then, boom, he's gone.
Well, P was the king of the fuck all y'all attitude. You understand what I'm saying? Fuck all y'all. I'm gonna do what I want to do. You know what I mean? But just in the beginning of his career, he wasn't being his whole self. You know what I mean? When we was doing Helter Skelter, like, if you can, there are interviews out there where P have told the interviewer, he was like, Nocturnal was his first rhyme book. Like, that was his first book of rhymes. Like, he didn't really write rhymes. He didn't really take rap that serious until he started fucking with me. You know what I mean? But, or sometime around there. But he, like, he felt like he was scared to death on Nocturnal. He felt like that was more my shit than his at that time. You know what I mean? So it was like he didn't want to fuck it up. So he was real. He was kind of, that was, I'm gonna fuck Rock shit up. This nigga Rock been doing this shit since he was 11. You know what I'm saying? And I just been bullshitting with this shit or whatever. La 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 la. So he wasn't as aggressive. He wasn't his entire self. You know what I mean? I would like to say that I had a hand in him finding himself. I remember one night, me and him having a conversation in New Jersey. He was in Jersey, had outside this club that he was hosting some shit at. And he was hosting some shit, and he brought me there just because niggas thought Helter Skelter broke up. And he was like, no, we didn't. I'm gonna bring Rock next week. And he brought me next week, right? And fucking that night, we was outside smoking, and I'm like, yo, son, you one of the funniest people I know. Like, remember I told, like, how I mentioned earlier, like the nigga I would call him once a month from jail, maybe twice a month, once every 3 weeks, somewhere in that range. And that nigga would keep me laughing until the next phone call. You know what I mean? Because he was a hilarious individual, and
Right.
he ain't give a fuck about nothing. It was just like, yo, when you learn and like when you start to be that your whole self in your raps, nobody nowhere ever will be able to fuck with you, son. You know what I mean? And
I love what you just said, because once again, these are conversations that maybe it's inside baseball. Maybe we do discuss with people that get it, but for the overall, you don't hear these conversations enough. Groups sometimes do certain damage to people because it's not, when we think of group splitting, we always think, oh, he's after the money, or there's some internal beef. And sometimes it's just as simple as the group doesn't allow him to fully be what he envisions him to be, which is beautiful, right? Because if you're a friend or if you're a family member, I mean, that'd be like, you kids got to stay with me all your life. Yeah, they're going to be one person with the family, but as soon as they get out in the world and experience life on their own, they're going to grow. So the same thing applies with groups. It does suck. Do you want to see your favorite group split up? No, I love Wu-Tang. Keep them together. But there's those moments when it's time for that person to show who they really are.
mm-hmm.
And to your point,
and me and P had this conversation.
Do that.
When we had that conversation, he was already doing solo shit. I was already doing solo shit. You know what I mean? But this was before Monkey Bars came out, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yo, like, and then if I remember, and then that night I threw up all over the place. Like, so I had to carry me to my doorstep. You know what I mean? Because I got drunk that night, and you know, but it was a thing. Like, it was like that was a fact. Like he came out. He was a Nocturnal came out. He was who he was then. Like, he was a little bit more aggressive on Magnum Force, and then after that, we started doing the solo shit. Like, we didn't do Dirt until almost, what was it? 10 years later. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I think that was a crazy time. Because like I said, it felt like, yeah. And I know you could you're one of the closest people to him. And you see that for us, we hear him like, God damn, this sounds like the super extra large P. You know, like, he just sounded so free. You can hear the freedom in people sometimes.
Yeah.
When they're free and they don't care. Don't care how it sounds. Don't care what beat they rapping on. They're just free. They're in their element. And you gotta love that about him.
I always say he'll start around with Botswana, and then don't say nothing about Botswana. Like, it was just the freedom. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do what the fuck I want on this beat, and y'all gonna love it.
Right.
And yeah, that was him. That was who he was in his real life. It wasn't no tiptoeing. He wasn't trying to make sure he he wasn't not trying to do too much in real life. So him to be trying to do that in his music, it was a disservice. He was doing himself a disservice.
Right. And rest in peace, man. Because rest in paradise, man. That was not only obviously tough on the people that were close to him. But once again, you don't appreciate the greatness sometimes until people are just completely gone, and you're like, wait a minute, I had Grandmaster D on a week and a half ago, and we're talking about Houdini and all these great times, and then not even a week later, one of the founding members, one of the first raps I ever kind of felt like I wanted to know and recite, 5 minutes of funk, and like that, gone. And it's just tough when we have to say goodbye to people when we know they were kind of just getting in their stride. I know this is not new. We felt like that about Martin Luther King. We felt like that about Malcolm X. We felt like that about Tupac, Big, and maybe there's never a right time, but it's still tough, man. Yeah. What got you through? What inevitably got you through in a more positive way to kind of understand or overstand it?
I mean, I was a new dad when he passed away. Like I never had it. Like I had my first kid at 40. You know what I'm saying? So when he passed away, I was like 42. You know what I mean? My daughter was only like a year and change or something like that. So a beautiful child that's your own. You know what I mean? That shit. It's a lot to smile about when you look into that. When you look into the eyes of a beautiful daughter, year old. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot to be happy about. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I was, I just kind of clanged to my family, basically, and my music. You know what I mean? It just it was that those. I mean, again, like I've been doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I say that in the realest and the most physical and spiritual way. I've been doing it for a long time. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like when I say that, I mean like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing because that shit is the answer to everything. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's the answer for every problem, for every situation. I can rap my way out of almost any situation, and anything I can't rap my way out of, love can get me through. And I don't love nobody more than I love my daughter. So you know what I mean? Like that's, I'm set up for this shit.
Well, that was completely dope to hear. For everybody out there, like I said, you talk about a black man, you talk about loving their family, clinging to their family. That's something that can't be said enough in this world. That we do give a fuck about our families. Sometimes tragedy is the reason for creation. We've even seen it in movies. Someone goes, someone comes in.
Album. I've been working on music forever. Like my first solo album to actually come out, like with a barcode solo album, Rockness Monsta was, it was that shit wouldn't have happened if P wouldn't have passed away. That shit's called Rockness AP, stands for Rockness After Price. You know what I mean? And that album is a gem, and it was formed out of his death. You know what I mean? Like there would be no Rockness AP if P was still alive. You know what I mean? Like and so his like his passing, it equipped me, it armed me with I have more. I lost my best friend, but I have more ammunition. Like I got more. Like I have like this. First of all, right? Check my hat, right? You see my hat? Like I'm real specific with the shit I wear. I have a personal relationship with everything I wear. I'm so me that I want to represent. I only wear baseball. Like this is a Rockets hat because Rock is in the name. Like I fuck with the Rockets and the Rockets.
Talk about it, brother.
Like,
yes.
I mean, but now, so like I'm always. It's either a New York team or it's going to be a team that has Rock in the name. because that's just the shit I'm on, right? But
Right.
now that P is gone, like I wear a lot of P shit too. You understand? So he opened up my wardrobe for me and shit. You know what I'm saying? He gave me some.
Nice.
He gave me some new lanes and color schemes I could explore. He also gave me some bars on the way out. You know what I'm saying? Because because who would I be not to quote some of his bars in my own? You understand what I'm saying? I
Right,
wouldn't fuck.
right.
I'm going to do that. So he made me doper. You understand? He also, and this is a big one. He removed with him. He took my fear of death. You understand what I'm saying? It's like,
Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
I said, with him, he took my fear of death. I mean, most people fear death. And even at the very least, people don't motherfucking, even if you don't fear it, don't nobody really want to die. Not today, not tomorrow, no shit like that. But, you know, I believe when I go, I'm going to see my nigga. So it's like, all right, whatever. You understand what I'm saying?
ORL, did you hear what he just said, man? He's speaking to the city right now. And it needs to be discussed as we enter this new year. The perspectives that probably are the most valuable things you will ever own in this lifetime. Everything else can be kind of rearranged and renewed. But that perspective, man, you know, being able to look at life in a certain way, that's valuable, bro. You know, just like how you were talking about earlier, looking at our people, how can we add to it instead of taking away? You know, how can we be better people, humans, instead of judging so quickly? Why don't we more quick to be open to understand? Not everything that we learned as kids is practical now.
Right.
Yeah. If you learn to grow up being a thug and doing all this other stuff, that's a butter knife right now. That actually will do more harm in engaging other things and being able to understand people. Hatred requires no understanding.
Let me tell you something. I seen some shit, and it was accidentally. I couldn't tell you what movie it came from. I couldn't tell you what the T because I don't remember what it was. But I seen this recently, within the past month, maybe 2 months, right? I was probably just flicking through the channels and got stuck somewhere because my phone rang and I stopped flicking, right? Something like that. I was not paying attention to whatever this was on TV, but one guy said to another guy on this TV show, he was like, guts will only get you so far in life. After that, they get you killed. I was like, whoa! I'm going to say it to you. I'm going to say it again.
One more time for the people in the back.
Guts will only get you so far in life. After that, they only get you killed.
This shut your entire mouth for the next week moment has been brought to you by 5-Star Graphics, Sound of Orlando show, and my man Rockness Monsta, representing all things hip hop. Man, dude, you're everything I expected to talk to. I was expecting this conversation from you, and you've just been hitting it right out of the park, bro. This is something that needs to be talked about. And dude, like, I mean, to your point, have you felt the energy given the COVID-19, given the restructuring of the music industry in a way? Do you feel a wave happening as we head into this new year? And if so, what are you doing to kind of meet the moment as things are changing and may never go back to where it used to be?
Yeah, I mean, just adapt. Like I'm like, it's all about adapting. Like you got to like some of these punches. I gotta wait for them to throw, but I do know that that the fucking hip hop underworld is equipped to handle a lot of issues.
Right, talk about it, brother. Absolutely.
Like we are equipped to handle a lot of issues, and I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't really want to get into it because that would be telling on us. But you know, like I'm not with all of this shit that they with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not with all that shit, and you know, niggas better know what they gonna do, because if you ain't trying to take no vaccine like me, then you got to be prepared for them to be like, all right, well, you can't work here, or you can't get on this plane, or you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you can't do that. You got to be prepared for that right there. You understand what I'm saying? But like I said, like the hip hop community, we are, you know, we ain't just a bunch of fucking rappers and thugs. We got some genius ass hustlers running with us. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Absolutely.
we got some of everybody involved in us. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, amongst us. So with that being said, like, you know, we got to be able to counterpunch, you know, be willing to keep our spirits good, stay in good health. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you good, brother. Yes, you are watching the Soul Show, Sound of Orlando show, as we finish out the year with some of the legends in hip hop, man, bringing perspectives, bringing broad views, and bringing truth to power. Continue, my brother.
What was I saying?
Yeah, that we need to have a counterpunch as a community.
Oh yeah, we got to be ready. Like, I mean, like on some real shit. Like, just know, like, we need to be getting up our skills. We need to be in touch with our favorite hustlers. You know what I mean? We need to be like on some real shit. Like, I mean, all of those stuff. Like, I don't put it past no. I don't put nothing past our government. You understand? They playing
Right.
from a nasty playbook. You know what I mean?
Right.
A very nasty playbook. They have done worse than what they doing now.
Right. Right.
This ain't a one of one. This ain't the first time. This ain't a first trip for none. You understand what I'm saying? So like, you know, the same way like, and we shall overcome, like we do every time. You know what I mean? But people just need to really be on point. Understand that whatever mainstream media is telling you is probably a lie. That's like wholeheartedly. Whatever mainstream media keep telling you is probably a lie. Like it's they telling you a vaccine safe every time somebody try it. They running around with Bell's palsy. They looking like the homie Conway in the face. Salute to him. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. And I don't want to see you until next year. Moment has been brought to you by 5-Star Graphics, the Sound of Orlando show, and the legendary Rockness Monsta, man, speaking truth to power.
Conway got shot in the fucking face. You running around looking like him, and all you got was a fucking vaccine. The fuck?
Right.
Come on, B.
Right.
Come on, B. Salute to him. I hate to use him as an example because I feel like I'm trying to play him, but I'm not. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not. The shit, it just came to mind. Like, you know, like for real, like, come on, B. Like,
no, you're absolutely right. We don't get to that without a global discussion as we begin to do the very thing, to your point, as the nastiness, from the roots of the nastiness, where they didn't want us to communicate. They wanted us all to kind of be that Tower of Babel, walking off speaking different tongues, because when we started reading and sharing that information, we become powerful. When we communicate and we understand, and even if we don't get it at that moment, we get that we need to be committed to our people, or committed to what hip hop started out with, which is right. We're not talking about balling right now. We're talking about the way the working man, the struggling man, the poor person thinks. When we're out here seeing what's going on in the haves and the have-nots, you seeing that from a different perspective. And that's what hip hop was always about in the beginning. It was like, hey, we're not going to be scared to tell the truth. We're going to tell it like it is. And we're going to inform our people, because for rap in the beginning, right? It was like our news. Rap music was like the first BET news. So somebody could know what was going down, in New York on a record and get it.
Yeah.
And we have to have these conversations and start talking to one another in the umbrella of hip hop, because this is the universal language. We all get it. We just got to be able to talk to each other without seeing some sort of profit margin and see each other as humans. Not an object to be sold or purchased.
Yeah.
But it's a great conversation, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you have this show. But I have to ask you, just because it's hip hop. This last question going out to the hardcore hip hop. Top 5 dead or alive MCs. As it's currently constructed, no particular order, it is your list. Who would you, if you had to run out of a burning house and you can only leave with these 5 MCs, who would those be?
I'm gonna just leave them all there because I can't decide. Like, as a MC, a technician, a practitioner, a scientist of this shit, you know what I mean? A fucking magician of this shit. Like, I do bar sorcery, right? And from my mind, from my perspective of this shit, it's like it's too much I appreciate about too many MCs. You know what I mean? I'm also kind of against top 10 lists and shit like that, because I feel like them shits are divisive. Like, think about it, right? One day, while hip hop was sleeping peacefully, we all woke up.
Towards the night before Christmas.
Hip hop was sleeping peacefully than a motherfucker, right?
Right.
We woke up to a vibe list. I don't know if it was vibe or it was complex, but they had a top 50 list, right? And like, I wasn't on it, right? And of course, I'm fine. Like, I ain't never on none of these lists, right? But think about if I let that get to me.
Right.
Think about that for a second. My nigga, you wouldn't have me on this show if you hadn't heard my work, right?
Absolutely. Come on, bro.
Hearing the way I rhyme, you don't think being a dope rapper or one of the best rappers is important to me? If you can't tell that, then you real good at missing details, right? You understand what I'm saying? So for me to never be on any of these lists, imagine if that was something that I allowed to trigger me. You know what I mean? So anyway, we go to sleep peacefully, wake up to this list with the top 50, the top 20, the top 30.
I love it, man. I love what you're saying right now. Continue, my brother. This is dope.
And here we go. And Joe Buttons, our brother.
Yeah.
Our brother Joey. I love him. I don't know him. I'm just saying, as a brother in arms. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I love him. All the love.
Shout out to Jersey, by the way.
Right? But we know the brother. The brother is comfortable with sharing his emotions. Let's just say that. You understand what I'm saying? He don't care about shooting from the hip. So he felt the way about the list. And what does authentic hip hop encourage us to be? Authentic, right?
Absolutely.
So he sees the list. He's triggered as fuck. You know what I mean? And he goes on a rant. Said rant gets him into a problem with some of the deepest running hip hop, some of the realest niggas in the shit. Right. You know what I'm saying? Since the 90s. And that was the Wu. You understand what I'm saying? All Joe Budden said was what he thought. You understand what I'm saying? And because he was in his feelings at the time, it came off crisp. You know, it was off-putting.
Right.
You know, he broke some of the rules of hip hop. You don't talk about nobody unless you willing to have that conversation later. Like
Right.
right now, like that's why I mention rappers' names. Like I'm careful in how I'm not like, listen, B. I got dirt that's Googleable. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not scared of none of these motherfuckers. You understand? But what I'm saying is, I know how to be respectful. Like I sell words for a living. Why I can't craft my words while I'm speaking to be respectful? You understand what I'm saying? So
No, and I get the reluctance of a list because it does. I see where it could, to all of your points. It could be divisive because
so a long story short, we wake up. Joe Buttons is in his, he's stating his facts and all that, and that shit led into a whole problem. You understand what I'm saying? A whole entire problem. You know what I mean? Niggas ran into each other. The shit got out of hand. It could have got crazier.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like if you listen to all of the facts and the stories, like shit could have went crazier.
Right.
And it's all unnecessary. Meanwhile, some fucking magazine, salute to whoever it is. This ain't no slight. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they do. I'm not about to. You understand what I'm saying? But
right. No, we get it.
You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of times, whoever said writer is, whoever comes up with said list, they not us.
Oh,
a lot of times, you know what I mean? And that's a big factor. Also, though, for me, a lot of people who end up on these lists, like people who place people on these lists, they factor into their rating, their listing, record sales and shit like that. And I feel like none of that's important. Like
let me present this perspective to you and see if you get my motivation behind a list. Because obviously, if I asked you what has inspired you as an MC, as a person that listened to MCs and can say, hey, Andre 3000, man, he was an inspiration. Or these people were inspiration. They're the top 5 people I think about when I think of what an MC is. Now, I don't know when this happened, but we woke up one day and your own idea or what inspired you or what Brownsville tick like or what Atlanta tick like somehow became a threat. Like, dude, you should be able to tell what inspired you. What are the 5 records you're listening to right now? What is inspiring? What is moving you right now without offending someone? Without making them feel like you've left them out. Because
absolutely.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Right. And I know how to do that. I could do that. Right. If I could answer that question, like
I got you. But
I don't have an answer for that because I love so much about so many things or different things about different artists. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
and you brought up even a more brilliant point, which maybe should be considered. Maybe instead of having these lists, like you said, these arbitrary lists from these kind of silent partners of our culture. And actually have, hey, here's Grandmaster Flash's 500 people he's feeling at this moment in his life that he feels like it's a must listen to. Or Cool Herc or shit. You or
the 5 artists from our culture. Like I could give what I could give you real easy, a list of 5 five artists that inspired me. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. Shit like that. Like that shit is easy for me. You know what I mean? 5 that inspired me then, and then I could come up with a list for 5 artists that inspire me now. You understand what I'm saying? But like from my style was grafted around Kane, Rakim, G-Rap, KRS-One, and NWA.
Now, how hard was that, man? You just telling your eyes and your frequencies led you just like that shit is valuable to me. Like that is valuable. That gives people insight on what made you, what frequencies made you kind of.
My shit is crafted. The foundation of the foundations of all of my spit is in those 5 acts right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And halfway through, like in the 90s, my biggest inspirations became Redman, Method Man, Busta Rhymes, Ruck and Rock. That was what I like. I drew energy from them 4 and shit I did in my own energy. Like I saw us as a 5-man super group.
Right.
In my mind, I felt like we was from the same planet.
Which would have been dope too. So
right. So, but as far as like now, rappers that really inspire me, Graph inspires me.
Nice. That's a nice selection. Graph has got some good stuff going on right now. Shout out to Graph.
I like Graph. I like Conway. Like I like I like Griselda altogether, but Conway is my favorite. I fuck with Method Man still. Like he's still like Son is in his bag right now. You know what I mean? One of my biggest inspirations and shit. Graph, Meth. And a couple of battle rappers.
Absolutely.
There's a couple of battle
out there
inspire me all day.
There's a few of them out there that are just, I mean, it gives you hope because, you know, to your point, you're one of the legends. And as you get older and older, you're gonna want to feel like most hip hoppers. I'm gonna want to feel like hip hop is being left in the right hands. Like having hope into that. Because for me, and like I know for you and for many of us out there is no age limit to this, man. This ain't I was a kid, and so I'm not hip hop anymore. I gotta be an adult. This is you
gotta remember when we was kids, the niggas who was rappers looked like grown ass fucking men. Now, they want the rappers to look like kids. But kids was a fucking, that was a, crisscross. That was something that happened once in a while. That was like a novelty type of thing or whatever.
Bam.
But, like Rakim, I don't care how old Rakim was. He looked like a grown man from day one. Kane never came to us looking like a kid. You know what I'm saying? Just Ice never came to us looking like a kid.
Man.
Nah, B.
Man.
Nah.
That's
the attack on our music. That's social engineering. That's the attack on our music. They want kids to be our leaders. When the kids still have so much to learn, B.
Right. And you just dropped yet another bomb on them. Because as long as it's that particular paradigm, you're always going to have this idea of fuck them old heads. And then as a result of hearing fuck them old heads enough, a lot of the old heads say fuck them kids. And it's a never-ending cycle. And to your point,
all you gotta do is put money in any nigga head and he gonna start. All you gotta do is put enough money in a nigga hand and he gonna feel like he don't need nobody else. Look, I got money. They gave the little niggas money, so now they don't listen to us no more. They gave the little niggas more money than we got. So now they don't listen to us no more.
Right.
You in a relationship with your wife make why I mean, and I don't agree with this, but why are a lot of men intimidated to be with a woman who makes more than them? They feel like they can't tell us shit. You understand what I'm saying? And they're probably right. They may or may not be right. I know you can't tell these little niggas shit.
Hey, I hate to be the broken record, but we're going to go right back to the beginning of this conversation. And you said something about the voice, to which I replied, how could that be your voice? And we went on to a full-blown discussion of how valuable the voice is. And once you find your voice, it doesn't matter who's doing what. That voice is valuable. This is the operation to take our voices away where we all, as human beings, sound alike. We don't want to do this because this might get me divorced if I say this, or
Mhm.
if I speak up for myself and be a man, I'm going to be humiliated because I shouldn't be that kind of powerful or whatever. We are all, whether it's music, whether it's socially, everything you were talking about, we are all being made to speak with a non-questioning, non-thinking of on your own, a very shallow voice that only represents what you have and don't have. And if anyone divvies from that particular line of frequency, everyone is to shame them and to say, you're not this person I thought I was supposed to be with, or to your point, you're supposed to be in that chair, not thinking you over here. Because to your point, if you make more money than me, how the fuck do I feel like I'm a leader? Bam! All the great leaders in time didn't have no money and died broke.
Mhm.
How the fuck did leadership get translated with money?
Mm. A mouthful right there. Real
We are
talk.
living in some serious times where the voice, the silence, is actually the more harmful. We are silent at the wrong times.
The
We're
dollar,
vocal about
dollar,
the wrong shit.
money talks. You know that saying? Money talks. Money
And
has
it shuts
become
people the fuck up.
the dominant voice.
Right?
That's
And
correct.
it shuts people up. How many
Mhm.
people were silent during all this racial tension that's been
Mhm.
going on with the Trump? And as long as they were, maybe had a few more write-offs and some bigger checks,
Punk
they're
ass
silent.
niggas is wild happy about a $2,000 stimulus. Man, go check what they get. Go look up five different countries and find out what they're getting, and then tell me if you're still happy about this $2,000 stimulus.
Right.
Like niggas, they all right, we're gonna give you 600. What? Fuck 600? That's too little bit. All right, 2,000. All right, that's way better. Nigga, that ain't shit either.
Right. Well, how much should we get to watch our brothers and sisters being shot cold, killed in the street? How much would you take? Right? Is it $10,000 enough?
I'm saying,
Right?
but they got niggas out of work, right? And fucking, all of this COVID protocol shit, niggas is out of work, niggas can't, but everything, but you can't go to work, you can't do this, you can't do this, but your landlord ain't trying to hear that. You understand what I'm saying? Like they had some shit going on with some relief plan going on for renters and for renters to have some sort of relief or insurance or whatever. That shit is about to end, B. You understand? I don't give a fuck. Shit about to end. Not like the phone bills ain't stopped coming, the cable bills ain't stopped coming, the fucking light bills ain't stopped coming. None of that shit stopped coming, but you stop coming your ass to work though. You understand what I'm saying? Other countries, they are making a percentage of their wages. Like certain countries, 80% of their wages. One country might be at 100% of their wages, they being reimbursed.
Right. Right.
You getting reimbursed out here, billionaires. None of these broke niggas who need their money getting reimbursed. The fuck, throw this shit away, B.
Right.
See,
I live in a state. It's called Florida. And it was so willing to get us out and them back in them jobs. They're like, fuck them ass. We ain't putting no mandate. Fuck them. Just open all the shit up. And we're one of the top places in the nation for spread, for whatever this is. It's happening. It's going on here. But it was green lighted. Money. They don't care about anything other than us getting back to work, lining their pockets.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck about us. If they could continue to line their pockets with us staying in the house, they would. Right. Like it's not about us; it's about them. Period. Any benefit we get is just a fucking is a side effect of whatever it is they're doing for them.
Well, they barely want to give those benefits. Florida is the worst state in the country for unemployment. You lose your job, they ain't trying to pay you anything to incentivize you to go to work. So imagine you're down here, the whole state is under hospitality. I mean, artistry, whatever. We basically perform for the country, this whole state. And they can't go to work. So they can't go to work because of COVID. What are they going to do? They're on unemployment. And you know how much unemployment pays? $285 a week. What the hell you going to do with $285 a week in New York City, brother?
Yeah. So, like I said, this is when it's like, but then think about it, like all of the skills that I grew up with on the streets, they're gonna be valuable soon.
Ah! Talk about it. Talk about it.
You understand what I'm saying?
Like, where the rubber meets the road. For all you people that say felons are this, you fucking up your life, and all of these things that
the whole world trying to pay their bills with weed right now. Shit niggas in the hood been doing forever. You know what I mean? Like fucking when the shit get crazy, and because I feel like personally, you know, and I hate to be, you know, because you know thoughts are realities, but I'm not afraid of this thought. I'm willing to die for what I believe. You know what I mean? I don't want to die today, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like this shit ain't gonna change this shit ain't gonna change without bloodshed. It's gonna be a revolution. I mean, like, because ain't nobody just about to give away a whole system that works for them.
This get away from me moment has been brought to you by Rockness Monsta. And if you didn't hear that, Orlando, just get off the drugs for 10 seconds. The man said, I mean, you don't even need to be fresh out of third grade to get that. You just said what's not being talked about. This system wasn't designed for us, and it's not going away without any bloodshed. Tell the truth. This is the truth, my brother.
And that's why our culture has been weakened. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they spent years telling people to turn in your gun, we won't lock you up, we'll pay you, all that disarmed us. Then they started shooting us every day. You understand? And then fucking, you know, they turned our music into a kiddie show. You know what I mean? Salute to the little homies, no disrespect to them, but they turned our music to a kiddie show, to a fucking one big, you know, a lean fest, a opioid fucking epidemic or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because how can, you know, we all remember how Tupac had us feeling. We all remember how Biggie had us feeling. We all remember how Chuck D and them niggas had us feeling. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't this.
Right.
You know, the way we was feeling during those MCs' reign, you know, that's wild counterproductive to this system.
Right.
So got rid of all of them, got rid of any alpha male in the hip hop superstardom arena. You know, you got some alpha males that might be eating or whatever, but I don't know them. Why? Because they're not superstars. They might be stars, but I'm talking about to the extent where I don't listen to them, but I still know them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like your parents knew, like my mom. I remember, I'll never forget the day I got off the elevator in my mom's building. I mean, on my floor. My mom's was in the hallway listening to 50 Cent. Like, I mean, she was walking in the crib and 50 was playing. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? That's coming out of our crib? She's like, why I can't listen to 50? I'm like, 50? 50? First of all, ma'am, it's 50 cents to you, right?
Right.
So it was like, so, but like that's what a superstar was. Your parents knew who he was. You understand? There's a lot of dudes out right now that's probably they probably got millions. You know, salute to them, but my moms don't know who they are. I don't even know who they are, and I'm hip hop. You understand what I'm saying? Because that major mainstream major machine button hasn't been pushed on them, and they're not pushing that button on nobody that's an alpha male. That's gonna tell our youth to stand up for ourselves and fuck that shit and get the fuck out of here. Get a gun because I got one. You understand what I'm saying? No.
Right. I want to leave. I want to leave with one final question for tonight. Um, I could talk. We could talk for the next 3 days. You have a very intriguing way of looking at things, and more people need to hear that perspective because it's not bitter. It's just real, and it's coming from a space in which, we should all want to be in that space at some point. Like, just for the culture, just for the love, just because this would be better than this. We could do so much more. So my final question is, if you have one thing to say, and we've been talking about it all night. You said there's people out here hurting. There's plenty of death to go around. About to enter this new year. If you have one thing to say, and just an honest take, and the last word to the city of Orlando, mind you, what is that?
I don't know. One thing. I feel like our love got to be strong for each other. So strong that we're willing to fight for it. And that doesn't at all mean fighting each other. Like, we have to stop fighting each other. And I don't mean black on black crime. Fuck all that. Because that's a phrase, that's a term that was made up to help us hate on ourselves. There's white on white crime exists, Asian on Asian crime exists. All violent crime usually takes place within the vicinity of, like, close to the home of the person committing it. Which means, so of course it's going to be black on black, or it's going to be white on white. It's going to be somebody you probably know. But they created this black on black crime term to help us hate on each other. We can't do nothing right. It's only us doing it. But with that being said, yes, everybody has their own white on white, Asian on Asian. But what's special, what's different about black on black crime is it ain't just us committing crimes against us. Everybody else is committing crimes against us too. The whole fucking government is committing crimes against us. So we don't have it like that. You know what I mean? We don't have it like that to be like them and just, whatever. You know what I mean? We can't kill each other too. But it's not just killing each other. We got to learn how to disagree with love instead of all of the fucking hate. Niggas do way too much hating on each other. Niggas talk about protecting our black women or protect our black men. Well, then how come soon as the death of one of our soldiers or one of our brothers or sisters, soon as that death dies down, it's back to all of the means that we use to entertain ourselves, which promote hating for our brothers and sisters. Hating on our brothers and sisters. Women run around here talking about how they ain't protected, right? But in the very next meme, I scroll up, it's a meme from a woman talking about with the body of a bad bitch and the face of a frog, talking about men fuck with that. That's what y'all want. Like, how are you protecting women? Homegirl? You understand what I'm saying? But don't get it twisted. Men do the foul all day. You understand what I'm saying? In the social media generation we got, we laugh. We find ourselves laughing at somebody's expense, and that somebody is usually of our culture, or very often of our culture. Very often we find ourselves arguing with, hating on, blocking somebody. I ain't fuck with her or whatever on social media because they are spewing their beliefs in an aggressive manner that doesn't involve no compassion or no love. Like they think you going to get the vaccine and they cursing you out for going to get the vaccine. Don't curse them out. Teach them if you can. You know what I mean? Like it's it's niggas will beat on their chest to be right. All of that shit is corny, B, because all of that shit, none of that shit is helping us. You know, we have to love each other enough to fight for us and not against us.
This shut your entire week down and stay away from me moment has been brought to you by my man, my brother, Rockness Monsta, the legend, the living legend, man. And you just dropped some jewels, man, that hopefully people will listen and share. I mean, because that's where we're at. That is where we're at. I'm so honored that you came on the show, man. Just as dope as the music has been, I think this is a great time to learn how dope people are as human beings. And these same people that have done these things that we all look at the surface can now understand why you were that person. Or maybe that was a beginning and now you're becoming this person, but it's all the same person. And I think people can gain a better respect for your music, a better idea of who you are and what you are to hip hop. And that's how valuable we should feel hip hop is to us. Yeah, I don't listen to your music, but what is this nigga really talking about? What does he really have to say? What does he think?
People need to know.
What's his story? Why is he even doing it? And I think everyone can leave tonight feeling a little bit better about all the dope shit you did to get us interested in what you're doing now. Where can they find your music at, my brother? Tell these people where can they find anything Rockness? Anything
I have a website called iamrockness.com, but there's a link. I'm on Instagram, Rockness BCC on Instagram. I have a link on my bio and Instagram that will lead you to all of my shit. You know what I mean? I'm on Facebook, Rock of Helter Skelter. I'm on Instagram, Rockness BCC. I'm on Twitter, _Rockness_, and I'm on YouTube as well under Monster Nation. But like I said, my Instagram will take you to all of that shit. So, you know, get involved. I put out a new song every month. From January till now, I put out a new song every month this year. Get in tune. Like, I'm not an old rapper. Like, I'm a right now rapper. You understand what I'm saying? Who just happens to be a bit older.
Well, I know I can speak for the city. We can't wait to have you down to Orlando. You're welcome. You got love here, bro. We love what you've been doing. And this city, this ain't about Mickey Mouse. There's a thriving hip hop community down here, bro. And, you know, as a representative of this city, you know, keep doing what you're doing.
I actually got a little brother that lives in Orlando. He's from there too. He's lived there. Well, he's lived there most of his life. My actual brother.
And who would that be?
His name is Jay Remy. He's out there. He does all kind of graphics and computer shit and all that. But he be disappearing on me every now and again. If he's watching this, then little nigga call me. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to St. Mary, representing the old town sound.
His name is Jay Remy.
Jay Remy.
Jay Remy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shout out to you. Yes. I mean, like I said, bro, pleasure having you on the show. If you can hang tight on the other side real quick, I'm going to wrap up the show. And, man, once again, bro, give it up for Rockness Monsta, man. Representing that hip-hop, son. Let's go. Yes. This is the Soul Show. One more show to go. We're going to be doing K Solo as our last show this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shouts out to everybody that tuned in tonight. I know we went kind of long tonight, but what can you do, man, when you're telling the story of hip-hop, man? We got to tell it. This is what it is, man. And shout out to everybody on the check-in. Shout out to Rick Barnes, our post-producer, providing the music. Shout out to my man, Jesse Jazz, for providing the graphics, 5-star graphics. You know, this is what we do, man. We represent hip-hop, and we just want to tell the story the way it is, man. What a great dude, man. So let's see you on the next run. Shout out to everybody. Let's go.